Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Cathedral Academy. Over the past few weeks, we have seen all kinds of heroes. Police officers, firefighters, and rescue workers. Now our military personnel are preparing to put their lives on the line to protect this country and our freedom. Therefore, today we dedicate this service to these men and women of our United States Armed Forces. It is my pleasure to welcome one of the many individuals who has dedicated their life to protecting ours, Colonel Jeffrey O'Leary. Colonel Jeff has served more than 20 years in the United States Air Force, during which time he has logged more than 2,000 flight hours. He holds 3 Air Medals, 4 Meritorious Service Medals, the Southwest Asia Service Medal, and 2 Battle Stars and an Outstanding Unit Award with Valor. He has commanded 3 organizations, including a flying squadron, and was the Deputy Group Commander for operations over more than 3,000 personnel. Colonel O'Leary serves on military duty at the Pentagon and is the author of the inspiring new book, Take the High Ground, Military Moments with God. If you'd like a copy of Colonel Jeff's book, Taking the High Ground, you can log on to our website at www.hourofpower.org and you will find it there. And if you're here in the service, you will be able to get an autographed copy if you go out into the plaza today and buy your book today. Please welcome with me Colonel Jeffrey O'Leary.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Colonel Jeff, you like me to call you Colonel Jeff, right?
That's great. That's great. Very informal.
So Colonel Jeff, where were you when the Pentagon was attacked?
Well, as some of you know, the Pentagon's very large. It's almost as large as the Crystal Cathedral, but I'm not sure.
Now, I've been there. It's about 20 times as big as the cathedral.
There's 25,000 people that work there. It's got 17 miles of corridors, 6 million square feet of office space. At any one time, you can be anywhere in that building. On that day, I happened to be out of the building south. And along with most Americans, was shocked and horrified when we began to see what was happening and watched the photographs in the film on television.
So how did you feel?
Kind of like I had gone back to the Middle East during the Gulf War a little bit.
And you were in the Middle East, weren't you?
Yes.
The Gulf War.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I was a UN peacekeeper in the Middle East, 1990 and 1991. I was assigned to northern Israel. Because we did embassy work, I was also with my family, my wife and 4 children, including a 1-year-old baby. And as things began to disintegrate over east there of Israel, many people were evacuating. But my wife is a woman of courage. And she said, if the Israelis can do it, we can do it. So we made up a protected room, like all the Israelis did. Put tape across the window so if the glass shattered from a bomb, it wouldn't explode in. We put batteries, blankets, food, clothing, and then we put our chemical masks and a tent for our baby in that special room. And so we were preparing for whatever came. But 2 nights before that first bomb fell in Iraq, the Secretary of Defense sent orders that said my wife and children, along with 1 other American family that had stayed there, were going to be evacuated, whether we liked it or not. So we gathered up their stuff as much as we could, drove down to Jerusalem. I put them on a jet. 2 days before that, my wife's purse was stolen, all of her ID cards, all of her credit cards, all of the things that she had. I happened to be carrying the passports, so I just handed those to her and wished her, God bless you.
Wow.
And her story is in the book from that point on. I drove back up north to continue to evacuate personnel out of the hazardous areas. And then the bombings began every night, and every day I continued to evacuate people out, UN, NATO personnel through Syria, across the water from Haifa to Cyprus, and then the remainder we got across the Sinai Desert to Cairo, and they could fly home from there. And what I learned from that, I think, is how great, David's prayer is. It says, "Oh God, teach us to number our days." And I think I learned to make every day count. I follow my president's order, which is to hug my children a little more.
That's a good order. I like that.
That's a good one. It is. And I think that was a time where I grew closer to the Lord in my faith.
Now, the name of your book is Taking the High Ground, Military Moments with God. And out of your war experiences, you decided that this book was important, didn't you?
Well, first I got to say that that's a book not of my stories so much, but of other veteran stories. And so I collected those as a way of saying thank you to all of those that have served before us, and to encourage those that are coming behind us, that you don't have to check your faith at the door when you're a Christian in the military. But when I came home from the Gulf War, one of the things that struck me as I got off the airplane, walked through the jetway into the terminal, was about as tall as this building. From ceiling to floor were yellow ribbons. And I cannot tell you what that did for me as a veteran who had lived through 39 missile attacks, what it did for my heart, how much it encouraged me.
It made you really feel welcomed home, didn't it?
Absolutely. Unbelievably welcomed. And I have always felt a special kinship for Vietnam veterans. It's why I did 3 major stories in the book on Vietnam veterans who had served there and had come back under combat conditions, some of them suffering tremendous injuries. And so what I would like to do, if you would allow me for a moment, is to ask every Vietnam veteran that is here present in the Crystal Cathedral today, if you would stand up, please. Please remain standing. I would like to address you as you are standing there and say to you, veterans of Vietnam, that we have not said it well enough, and we have not said it often enough, and we have not said it sincerely enough, how much we appreciate the service you gave to our nation during Vietnam. And I would like to say to you, as the nation said to me when I returned, welcome home. Welcome home.
It's a different war we fight now.
Yes.
And there's going to be tragedies that we don't